What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We have round 5 for you. An incredibly exciting one. Two former champs shared the same card, fighting it out to play in this round 5. We have Kevin Broberg on Zeke, Yeager, Warchief, your current world's national champion, versus an old head, Devin Bernier, on Donatello, the smart one. Sam, what are your thoughts on this matchup and the two players playing it?
Well, it's funny to see things come full circle. Shameless plug for the article on coping with cardboard. Go check them out. They have amazing written UniVersus content. I got to do a guest spot for them where I actually talked about my experiences playing in the teams world championship, where my team only lost to team Rochester CCG at the time, who got the card Pulled My Trigger. So these are both players on Pulled My Trigger, the asset, if you want to look that one up on UVS Ultra. So it's really kind of poignant that I went through like this whole deep dive, went through Kevin Broberg's deck, went through Devin Bernier's deck, and a couple weeks later, here we are watching them face off against each other. And I believe Devin Bernier has taken a pretty big break from the game. So I'm going to be very interested to see what he's got brewed up here. But speaking of those two decks from the past, Kevin Broberg on the Assets Athena deck, now we've got Devin Bernier on Donatello, and there's going to be green cards all over that deck.
Yeah, there's so much poetry happening in this matchup. Two friends battling it out. And I know that you said Devin had taken a bit of a break. I know Kevin was messaging me literally 2 days ago being like, I don't know what to play. I've got 5 decks available. And this was not one of the decks that we talked about. So
Zeke,
he decided last minute to take Zeke Warchief, not necessarily the winning version of it, but deciding to play the Caden Chaos version, and is going to be doing some pretty impressive stuff. Moving into more of your thoughts on the matchup itself, Zeke, a backup centric pink cards matter deck, versus Donnie, an asset centric green cards matter deck, classic pink versus green. Who do you think has the edge here? What are the play patterns you're expecting to see?
I have strong opinions about how I think the deck will be played, but I would have been wrong about so many of the decks earlier today. I would have been wrong about Tim Q's Pony deck. I would have been wrong about Ryan's Rodan deck. I would have been wrong about the Equipment Highest Hawks deck. So I don't want to put my foot in my mouth before the game begins, but a 7-hander whose main ability is to pump a lot of damage versus a backup-oriented deck whose main defense is damage reduction. I think we're going to see this game play out in the board state more than we are through card advantage, if I had to guess.
I think that's super fair. It's very funny. Both of these characters are like my favorite character from inside the set they came out of. My fun deck, the deck that I'm even trying to like polish and make like my competitive deck, is Donatello. I'm sitting here with the same Donatello on my desk as Devin is representing there. I got the cool action figure Donatello. This character hits really hard, really fast. You're getting +6 damage on every single move. Sometimes on turn 2, the damage reduction that Zeke Yeager wants to present and use as like part of its main defensive game plan just isn't enough. 9 Titans does -4. I don't care. I've got +10. Like eventually Donnie will overcome and overrun you. And even the gain 1 health, draw a card isn't enough sometimes.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the most recent Turtles decks I've been building is 2 different versions of Donatello, both on Void and on Good, trying out both symbols, because the appeal that I can build 5 cards on my first turn going first and then get +5 damage to all my moves for the rest of the game is very, very, very satisfying. So it'll be very interesting to see what we've got here. Devin Bernier, a very good player at playing the really aggressive 7-handers that have a gimmick, that have a a defensive plan. Usually it's either resource denial or card pool stuffing or something along that nature. So I'm really interested to see what kind of defense Donatello can play, because that's the one thing that's really missing from the character. You get a benefit when you block with an asset, but what is that asset going to do during your rival's turn is often the question we have to ask. And you see Devin reaching over, reading both sides of Kevin's characters. So hopefully he doesn't get tripped up by the abilities of Zeke Yeager.
Yeah, we talked about Donnie a ton because Donnie, you know, he's the new fun toy, but we do have the tried and true veteran deck of Zeke Yeager Warchief. Specifically, Caden's Chaos deck is the inspiration here. Playing out these Beast Titans Rock Barrages to build down some pretty high impact backups like these 9 Titans, but the real bread and butter here is the knockdown blow. 7 difficulty move that you play that says that your moves are way cheaper afterwards, and you play out these big long strings. Hey, you don't need plus a bunch of damage to your moves if they're already starting at really high impact numbers. So excited to see what happens as we hit some Kevin Broberg spice of I am here instantly out the gate.
Turn 1, I am here with a character that doesn't necessarily benefit from the other effects. This could have just landed extra progressive in our card pool if we hit an attack. Normally, you want to be a character like Amajiki or Jean Kirstein who can get like some momentum off of this card. But, you know, Kevin's just rolling the dice here, starting things off. If he had gotten a backup, that would have been pretty exciting. I am here printed a long time ago, but it does say card. You can build any card type with it, so that would have been super duper exciting. But just gonna see a fairly normal build after that. 2 backups, a moment of normalcy, and a spam foundation that builds a backup.
I love it. I absolutely love it. As soon as I over here hit the table, I was like, inspired by Caden, but certainly a recipe of his own. From here, I got it. Every time that I look at Donatello, we got to count how much damage is in the stage at the start of the turn. It looks like it's just 1 from the code edits. Not only is this one of the most impactful response plays that came out of the Turtles, but it also in Donnie has a static ability that essentially just says +1 damage to all of your move as we hit triple Mechazoid.
We get our first whiff of this Donatello deck. The smell of the game has been revealed to us. This is going to be a Mechazoid Donatello deck because that backup counts as an asset. And there's a lot of really nice cards that kind of synergize with Mechazoid.
Yeah, damage is the name of the game here, but speed is a thing that Donatello has a really hard problem with. Mechazoid offensively says, enhance commit, my rival commits a foundation. If you look at Zeke's board, there's only 3. Those 3 Mechazoids completely and totally clean up everything that Zeke has. If Kevin can't reestablish more foundations, we could be looking at +4 damage on every move and a completely committed out stage on the very first attack of the game.
So let me ask you a question while the 2 players here kind of contemplate their hands. How good at drunken fighting do you think Mechazoids are?
I think they're very good. I think they're very, very good.
The master of drunken fighting can be used on both turns, but Mechazoids can be used on both turns, but only during your attack.
It's that, and it's the fact that Donatello just says that they all have +1 damage. Imagine Master Drunken Fighting says you got the bonus.
+1 damage to all your attacks, true.
Every single move, and that's where I think that the strength of it really lies. I think that, you know, Bishop made the Mechazoids, but I think Donnie has certainly reprogrammed them to use them to a better advantage. As
editing
second
the code,
I am here,
if you will.
Yeah, definitely editing the code.
That's right.
Second
I
I'm here
see
coming
the movie,
down though.
but I read the synopsis.
You didn't watch the movie?
No, I haven't yet. I've been meaning to.
Genuinely one of the best Turtles IPs that's ever it's my
Really?
favorite Turtles. 100%. 100%. I cannot recommend it more. Chad, if you have not watched it, please, after the tournament, go watch the new TMNT movie. It's so good.
I usually make it a point to watch, you know, all the products that are in UniVersus. Like I read the entire manga for AOT in like a week. leading up to the
Yeah.
set's release, and I've been meaning to watch the turtles, but every time I go to like watch a movie, I get distracted by sports because sports are coming back now, so I haven't gotten around to it.
Hey, I get it. I super get it. It's just, it's good, man. It's so good. But we missed a ton. We missed so much. I
We
am
missed
here.
one attack get played.
Builds us in the dreaded 9 Titans from throughout history. Proceeds to have Beast Titans Rock Barrage attempt to build something in, and then code edits stopping us, bring us down to only 3 assets in Donatello stage. Now doing our Godzilla impression here, and committing these foundations. This could spell danger if there's more gas in Zeke's chamber. Lucy's hand?
Nope, I'm here. I'm just trying to read the the black and white.
Oh, it's all good. All good.
The top card of the discard pile is also a 9 Titans throughout the ages, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's the scene where, spoilers for everybody at home if you haven't watched, where the Titan swallows Armin in the final fight scene, takes him all the way away, but instantly a flip over from Zeke onto the backside, instantly saying, tell me a little bit about the backside of this character.
So the main thing about Zeke Yeager on the backside is if you have 2 or more backups, your checks to play ranged and or Titan cards gets +2. And that is the big benefit. That is sort of your payoff for not having a lot of foundations, right? If you're not building foundations, but you're building backups, you need to have another way to pass your checks. And that +2 to all your checks to play ranged or Titan cards can help you offensively and defensively. Also, once you flip, you no longer have to sacrifice your backups to gain a health and draw a card. All of a sudden, every single backup is commit, draw a card, gain a health, which makes the one difficulty Yeagerist followers way more impressive, and it makes it very difficult to beat this deck via attrition. But we also see one of my favorite cards now, not one we've seen too often, the 7 difficulty Armored Titan Rush. I'm a huge fan of Knockdown Blow, and I'm a huge fan of Armored Titan Rush, but usually you got to play one before the other.
Yeah, Zeke absolutely gets to mitigate that, though, using his front side ability of getting +X to your check for each backup in your stage. +1 ended up being 2 +1, so 3. And then now that we're on the backside, we get an extra +2. We had +5 to our check, so this was on an 8, check a 10 to pass this this rush. Massive move, probably going to do something high impact to Donatello.
Yeah, gnarly enough to ruin one, but then it can't be blocked by non-attack cards. So you saw Donatello here wanted to block with an asset, but he was forced to block with a violent animus shot, which the Breaker 1 might have been nice before we had +2 to all of our checks to play all these Titan cards. But the real question is, did we take half from that? Or did we have a zone change?
It's a 4, 5, 6. We checked a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I have to commit Zeke. Okay. The minus to the check and the plus to the check was messing me up. But yeah, hey, you called it. The breaker was relevant because we checked a 3. Normally not a thing that happens inside of these Zeke Yeager decks. Normally we're checking 4s like that knockdown blow that we failed on the Knots Flask. But here it is. The stage is getting large. Lots of pink cards coming in as we decide to shift down the Armored Titan rush. Although looks pink, is a foundation. 4 foundations, 4 backups in the stage. Tough spot if you're a Donatello fan, as only +2 damage represented here on the table.
Yeah, not a ton of that damage bump, right? We were talking about numbers like 5 and 6. Right now, Devin's only got +2 to his checks, and I'm not seeing a ton of ways to tutor those assets into our discard pile. There's a few Mechazoid specific cards, but the void symbol doesn't have a lot of ways to build in. We saw dramatic slash earlier. That one has the good symbol, so we're not going to see it in this deck. I'm really curious if we can ramp the damage up, because with only +2 damage and with Zeke Yeager gaining health plus -4 from the 9 Titans, this looks like a very uphill battle.
Yeah, currently it is. I think stabilization is the name of the game, but if you don't put pressure on Zeke, he can certainly run away with it because of the tools that he has available to him. As we are seeing a, we saw it so much last game. Sweeping daggers come in.
Sweeping
From
daggers.
here, go ahead.
Sweeping daggers has kept a lot of players off these high difficulty moves. But I think that for the most part, it's still a really risky thing, right? Because if we took an armored Titan rush here, we'd get a really nifty static, but that's after the response from 9 Titans has already happened anyways. And then you get to ruin 1, which has no effect, and then you can tell Zeke Yeager he can only block with attack cards against your 0 damage move.
Love
if you steal a
play.
Beast Titan's barrage, you get maybe a Mechazoid, which we don't. So while a lot of people I know really hate on sweeping daggers, it's really not that impressive into backup decks the vast majority of the time, which that takes up a huge chunk of our metagame.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. This is a sweeping daggers play. It's not that high impactful, but I think it is going to slow down what Zeke's got going on, because we just removed a Falling Titans. If we wanted to, we could break this Mechazoid and pick back up our sweeping daggers and play it again.
That's one of my favorite plays. I'm a big fan of anytime I get to echo a sweeping dagger, and this is effectively doing that. Is there another 9 Titans so we can do this again, though, is the real question.
Yeah, I'm not positive, but with the Rock Barrage, we're able to build back in this Mechazoid, and it was like nothing ever left.
Yeah, we
looks like there's the play.
Back. Yeah,
Mechazoid or go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a little wheel spinny though, right? It's very nice to generate the extra attack, but on the second one, only getting the ability to build a Mechazoid, and again, no stun, no targeted commit was really relevant here because Zeke Yeager is willing to essentially commit out on his own turn, bolstered by the 9 Titans that he got to tutor up. You know, it's still not the blowout play that we saw like earlier with sweeping daggers, taking things like, you know, invisible infiltration, which had a potential game-winning play behind it. This is really just finding anything in a stack of nothing.
No, you're totally right. But it does get a 9 Titans off the board. One of the key damage makers for the deck, and we didn't lose anything. So one of the key pieces to the Zeke Yeager deck is playing something like a Beast Titan attacks to go late game, find us a Falling Titans, and then play it. I'm gonna spoil the story just a little bit, Sam. There's a singular copy of Falling Titans inside of Kevin's Warchief deck. That kill condition is just no longer on the table. It's just gone. You have to go do it the old-fashioned way, and if there's one thing that a 7-hand size void character could do, is block the moves when you don't have, you know, infinite of them.
And that's one of the things that I love about sweeping daggers in the format. While decks like Midoriya on the move can play that card, it forces them typically to play multiple copies of their win condition. We're not seeing 5-6 attack Deku decks anymore, because sweeping daggers could potentially prey on that low attack count. So if we believe that, you know, low attack count decks are antithetical to, you know, traditional normal UniVersus, then sweeping daggers remains an amazing check to those otherwise, you know, NPE play styles. So a huge call out there for the sweeping daggers to get rid of the only Falling Titans, but Kevin Broberg, obviously he's not going to rely on one singular strategy. That Falling Titans is a cute copy just in case the rival leaves themselves open. But now Donatello's got a little bit of a stage. We've got an enhance cancel on a foundation. We've got the ability to use our Mechazoids to pass a check if we need to. So things aren't looking as dire as they did a couple turns ago.
Yeah, and +4 damage in our stage. That Donatello now officially beats the response on 9 Titans. It says that it doesn't work any longer. But Resurrected Titans is going to come in, destroy a foundation to go and grab a move, and it looks like that Beast Titan attacks that I talked about earlier. We got to get these important pieces out of the discard pile and back in play, back in rotation, so that we can, play the game back at Donatello.
Yeah, Beast Titan attacks is an amazing one against these 7-hander decks. You get to sack a backup, turn it into a throw. It's base 8 damage. You can double that with 9 Titans. Even if your rival blocks it, they're losing like half their health. That one's going to feel amazing. Void does have some pretty good throw hate, but players typically aren't mainboarding it, and sometimes they're not even sideboarding it. So this is going to be potentially a huge move coming in after this Resurrected Titans. It's going to make Beast Titan attacks -3 difficulty as well.
That's true, but the Doty block coming in, responding with Donatello to build it in. Now we have +3, 4, 5 damage on all of our moves, and the get out of jail free card of Doty being able to rebuy back some foundations that we need. I'm pretty sure that it also means that we get the re-ready Mechazoids for extra stun if we wanted. So a lot of options here over on Donatello's side.
And don't forget the defensive enhance. If you're staring down a lethal move, you can return it to printed damage, which we could very well see come into play here on this turn. +2 to the check means we're playing essentially on no progressive for our next attack. And we can scalp the check.
I dig it. I think this is a really, really great position for Donatello, really showcasing where we're at. Because I even think like one more block here I think is relevant. Let's just block the Beast Titan, only take the 8, dropping down to 10. How much further could Zeke possibly go? And you have to do it without getting to 11 damage.
Yeah, we're down to 10. And it looks like we're just going to build out from here. Zeke in a commanding position, doesn't have to risk anything, and getting some inspiring songs out that could help us block, or that could help us, reduce the Donnie string. Typically, when you've got a 7-hander and you've got good damage bump, you want to get as many attacks as possible going so that they all can wear that nice, delicious damage pump. But it's going to be tough if you've got inspiring song as a sort of fake breaker. It does end the turn, which is kind of amazing, and it doesn't even require you to block. So we do have a cancel for the Reiner's toughness or the moment of normalcy. So that is potentially something that could very much open up Kevin's stage. But 29 health, the ability to gain a health and draw a card on every attack, double inspiring song, and a reset and a set to 0 is a lot to get through from 29 health.
It certainly is. And if we're not targeting this Beast Titan attacks, this Beast Titan that is sitting on the stage, they're going to be able to go pick up whatever cards they want out of the discard pile. So not only if we can't find 29, we do need to start trying to clean up these backups, because we have transformed to Zeke a Beast Titan finale, which means he cannot sacrifice them to drop our attacks. So it just really depends. How much advantage can you possibly get on this turn as Donatello, the smarty pants?
It's going to be tough. I don't think there's an avenue for this turn specifically. Going to do a little plundering, going to do a little treasure hunting. Now, it is worth noting Kevin's drawn a lot of cards. He might cycle, and then we could be looking at a potential Plan B. I can't even say it with a straight face.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait until he cycles one time, and then I'm down to talk about it, Sam. He's so close. Just let him do it.
I'm just trying to think of any out for Devin at this point, right? And even he's looking at the discard pile. He's checking out all the different things, potentially looking for a sweeping daggers angle, which would be so good here. But I'm not sure what we could find that would radically change the board state. Stealing a Beast Titan and Beast Titan's Rock Barrage would be so nice if we just had one more backup in the stage already to get that targeted commit going. But
I think the actual answer here, man, is we just attacked the Beast Titan to get it off the stage so that you can't go pick up your Rock Barrages.
right,
We hit that one because it's gonna do the full damage. We got +5 damage on all our moves. You can't, and we don't have enough DR, or you have to use the Rhiners or the Moment of Normalcy or whatever.
right.
And then just build up your stage. You can get +10 damage eventually on Donnie's side. Like that can happen. And so it takes what, 2-3 attacks if you can leak through to like get the job done. And collecting scraps is a great way to do it. 6 low for 4 that says pick up any asset out of your discard pile. I missed what we picked up though, which is
picked
important.
up a soup, which builds as soon as you play it, which can add to our asset count. So we might actually be trying to swing for game here. It doesn't look like we were aiming at the Beast Titan. It looks like we were aiming at Kevin, and soup might just be a block trick because there are some really nasty 7 mid attacks, big 7 mid 7s. But I would have to assume that the soup is here to help us play through the potential check hacks that the inspiring songs could have provided, and then also ramp up our damage a little bit more because the Mechazoids are coming in. Things are getting committed down. There's effectively one enhance playable from Kevin's foundations now because that Masho concealment will cancel the other one.
Yeah, love this. Absolutely love this play. This is 6 low for 9, right at Beast Titan's face. If you block this, it's a 6-speed move. How much more are you going to commit? Rocking a hard place for sure. If you're over here as a Beast Titan finale fan, because how much more could happen? We've committed no foundations. We've only committed assets. It looks like we're going to get away with it. 9 damage to the face. Soup coming down now, +6 damage to every single move that we play. Crazy.
Yep. Clears through that inspiring song -1.
And then from here, sweeping daggers, just like you said. Oh man, these are the numbers. These are the numbers we were talking about. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's just a shame. Like I said, it's a shame that we didn't have one more Mechazoid, because then a Beast Titan's Rock Barrage would be able to target commit one of those resets, and with the cancel for the other, that would make this a lot easier for Devin to find the win here. But if everything is going to swing for 10 damage, and we got a full stage, we've not checked so poorly that I'd be worried about our next 2 control checks. I mean, this could be it. We could see an absolute come from behind victory here.
Well, the Mechazoid does commit the last one. We build in the Mechazoid, and it is the stun.
Oh, he
one
only
that
had 3
happens.
foundations left. That's
he
right.
only had 3.
The Mechazoid. Oh, we don't even have to commit the Mechazoid.
Yeah.
That's right, because we readied a Mechazoid on an earlier attack. Okay. Yeah, so between the stun and the additional Mechazoid, you're right. We actually did get the ability to commit everything in the stage. So with +7, is that +7 I'm seeing
That's
to everything?
+7 damage to every move. This is now a 5 mid for 11, literally landing one more move and it's game over.
I mean, this is what we talked about, right? Once you get to that 5 or 6 damage number, all of a sudden things get serious really quick. And Kevin being forced to partial block, that's not going to look good. And here's my favorite attack in the Donnie deck. If only because I know so many people scroll past this one on UVS Ultra, their eyes roll over because it's only 1 speed and it's only got 1 ability on it. But man, it is the exact ability that Donatello wants to see.
Yeah, this one this one hits a little too fast and hits a little too hard. Coming in for 11, 12, 13, 14. Now with the soup committing for the +1 to damage. Attempting to block with the Oya Capone, just tossing the block away, saying that it's not what matters. If we have one more move, I think it's game over. And another swing! Swing into swing. Holy cow. Insane.
Devin Bernier absolutely swinging for the fences, 4 attacks, putting up 40 damage, only one of them getting partial blocked. Kevin's at 1. What can he do? He'd have to respond to this attack being played. There's nothing you can do once we've entered the enhanced step that I can think of. We're not on a barrier shield symbol. That's going to be game 1 going to Donatello over the Zeke Yeager Warchief, which was your top 2 back in Louisville.
Holy cow. Holy cow. And man, we were sitting here being like, man, what does Donatello do? He's got to stabilize. He can't do it. No. He started that turn at +5, ended at +9. He went absolutely crazy with the amount of moves that he was allowed to play and the damage pump that he was allowed to give. Man, what a showcase showing off this very, very cool TMNT character.
Yeah, and I love the sweeping daggers, making the Beast Titans Rock Barrage into Broberg's kryptonite. He said, how do you like it when I've got a move that commits you out? It's going to build me a backup that commits you out. And when you're committed out, you've got no defense for my absolute pile of stats. And I love, like I said, I love this design on Spinning Swing, if only because it's so simple. It's so easy. If you were to hand this deck to a brand new player and you said, hey, man, you get damage for all these assets, everything that says it's an asset, you get damage for. And then you show them Spinning Swing, you go, okay, this one also gets speed for all those assets, for all those cards that say they're an asset. I mean, it just makes perfect sense. And typically we don't see uncommon attacks be potentially the best attack in a deck, but Spinning Swing definitely has potential to be the highest statted move in a Donatello deck.
Yeah, absolutely. It is way too fast and hits way too hard. It's got a really gnarly 1 high block. The stats on that card when your game plan is firing on all cylinders, second to none. Second to none. It's very, very cool. Well, Kevin Broberg, our national champion, playing a well-known character inspired by a second place finishing deck, got mollywopped by Donatello, which a lot of people are saying the set is boring. The set is not flashy. A showcase happened. What is Kevin going to have to do to make turtle soup?
Well, when it comes to competition, Tam, it's not about being flashy. It's not about showing off. And that might be what Kevin has to not do. He has to stop spinning his wheels. He's got to stop doing his cool kick flips. It was very awesome how he got to search his deck for cards, and it was really cool how he got to, build things from his discard pile, and he doubles a big giant throw. But what he didn't do was he didn't respect Donatello's offense. He was committing out almost every turn. He committed himself down enough that a couple Mechazoids and a Rock Barrage copied onto his Sweeping Daggers was enough to annihilate all of his defense. So he's got these big flashy moves. They do really cool, awesome things. But you know what won the game, Tam? Plus X speed, plus X damage. X equals your assets.
Back to the basics. Back to the basics. Doesn't take a genius to know that damage is the way that you win the game.
And hey, Devin Bernier, he played through the MHA era, and he was really, really, really fond of any deck that could play Brute Strength. 7-handers that play Brute Strength means that they can pile on damage. Health is a resource. They've got above average defense, if you're playing like the Eraser Heads of the era and things like that. And so you have all the necessary tools to block with. And then you put everything else in your deck. You put everything slanted towards piling on damage, and you overwhelm your opponent. Back in the day, he would play cards like Fierce Whirlwind to destroy his whole stage, and play Grenadier Bracers to add huge damage bonuses to the Fierce Whirlwinds and everything like that. So, he's very familiar with this 7 hand size aggro game plan of every attack is a threat. You have to block all of them, and no, you won't block all of them.
Wow. No, you're totally right. This Donatello feels like it was made for Devin. But let's talk about Kevin's build here. Being down a game, turn 1, getting to go first, build a singular foundation, no matter how good it is. 2 backups, not a stellar start for our world champ here.
No, and we saw in game 1, Devin didn't exactly jump out to those massive numbers that we were talking about. It took multiple turns of building. It took multiple sweeping daggers to steal multiple rock barrages to get to those impressive damage numbers. So, again, I think Kevin's deck might be playing a little slow against this specific matchup, right? The format, we've seen ponies that are so fast. We've seen Hawks decks that on turn 3 are searching their deck for massive mutant machines. We've seen Overhaul on turn 2 plays a 5-diff, builds a massive mutant machine from his hand, or a 4-diff, builds it face down, then flips it face up. So, we might have seen the metagame from one, TMNT release and adaptations from Louisville and Spain and Oceania. People are just playing at a bit of a faster pace, I think. And, I feel like any more aggressive deck could have capitalized on the slow start that Devin had. But because Kevin's deck wants to sit around and accrue extra value, it kind of left that back door open. And we've got 3 backups, but only 2 foundations. So again, a breaker block here into a high difficulty foundation or backup, like we saw, he checked a 2 trying to play the 9 times throughout the ages. This could put us back in a precarious position pretty quickly.
Yeah, I totally agree. Looks like we're gonna be fighting over this one as we've sealed the moment of normalcy. I can imagine the copy of, I will find it, Rifle Arm is going to come in for a bit of minus speed, and I'm sniffing an asset block to build up and boost our stage a little bit stronger, to try and find those kill turns a little bit later.
Yeah, especially it could be a Mechazoid, right? It could be a technically a backup block that your abilities treat as an asset. That would not surprise me one bit.
Man, this I'm here is so sick. Ripping that off the top is so cool. And you called it. Mechazoid comes in for the block. Nice and easy. Let's commit Donatello, build it in. We now have +2 damage to all of our moves. Not very threatening right now, but the snowball is starting to build. My question here is, do you waste your next attack attacking this Mechazoid, or do you just go face? He's only got 23 and his shields are down.
Well, we've got the big check bonus. We checked a 6 on top of that, and knockdown blow is going to give you another check bonus. So, forget what I said about checking poorly, about running into a breaker block. We're just going to take the 7 directly to the face, and that's going to let us play the Beast Titan attacks. Completely committed out. Probably don't have to make this one a throw.
Yeah, that does make sense. Hoping to rip the just trying to get trying to get a bonus review here, blocking with the Mechazoid, knowing it's not a foundation. We're losing the game. We're at 5 health, losing because we just don't have access to extra foundations, nor a check bonus like Zeke Yeager does.
And this is that pace I was talking about. We're no longer playing with our food. We're no longer dawdling and dirtling. We're playing the good ones. We're getting the check bonus to play the knockdown blow, which gives us the check bonus to play the Beast Titan attacks. I am a huge fan of knockdown blow. It accelerates these high difficulty, these Titan attack decks, if you want to call them that. It accelerates them so quickly. Zeke Yeager's front sight accelerates knockdown blow so quickly. And, we've only got the 2 assets in stage for Devin. This is much less threatening than the kill turn that we saw in game 1. So Broberg definitely getting out ahead of where he was in game 1.
Significantly more of a dire position for Donatello for sure. But the name of the game is stabilization, unless we need to go find us some more assets. Let's go dumpster diving into the discard pile with collecting scraps. What's the best asset we could pick up and potentially block with? A bow staff is breaker. A mechazoid is more stun. Brotherly love is just a 1 difficulty foundation that I could use to bolster my stage. Tough decisions to be made here, but I'm sure Devin's going to make the right one.
Yeah, looks like we go for the brotherly love there, just getting a little spam foundation. No soup to get the asset ramped immediately, unfortunately, but it's not looking great. But we said that in game 1, and it only took 1 or 2 more turns of building up for Devin to accrue an unbeatable string. So unfortunately, that Beast Titan I think is going to be sitting on the field. Yeah, because we've got the runaway, that means we were not attacking a backup, and so this attack's not going to deal damage. Our card pool is going to get clogged, and that Beast Titan is going to be chilling there to potentially pick up a game-winning play on the next turn. The form from the Beast Titan says you can add any ranged attack from your discard pile to your hand. Beast Titan attacks is a ranged attack that becomes a throw that would be lethal on a partial if we had +1 damage to it.
Yeah. But from here, looks like build 5. Sorry. Build 4,
Yeah,
one of those
runaway,
being
yeah.
added in with the runaway. Hey, they got me. Great looking board state. I would say that Donnie's in like a really leading position here until I go back and I look at life totals. Life totals are
Right.
absolutely telling a different story of 25
Ooh.
to 5.
There's that
As in-
+1 damage I was talking about. We're going to build a Knots Flask off an I am here, but it looks like we built it face down.
Tell me about
We
that.
just-
Why did that matter?
So the face down or the bonus damage?
The face down. Why not? Why not make it an asset?
Right. So I imagine that Kevin wants the additional resource to try to play cards, which makes me think that we don't have a Beast Titan attacks in our discard pile. Otherwise, that would be a pretty. Do we have a code edit? Maybe we have a blitz cancel. No, I don't see a code edit, because we could pick up a throw and we could make it lethal on half. But instead, we're gonna opt to get the Beast Titans Rock Barrage, which we checked a 3 on. So getting the additional asset, or getting the additional resource instead of the asset, worked out for us, as now the Beast Titans Rock Barrage is going to go find us another backup, and lay waste to half of lay waste to half of Devin's stage here.
Yeah, great opener, and like you said, I really love the building in the face down instead of the Knots Flask, because damage isn't what we need. We just got to pass enough checks, play enough cards to win the game.
Right.
And so from here, we have to figure out, what am I supposed to interact with to make me not lose the game? And it looks like stopping this emerging threats from building in an asset, building in a backup that I am unaccounted for, I think is what's important here, which makes total sense to me. As the Mechazoid block comes down, as we commit Donnie, build it in. Okay, we're at +4 damage if we get back to our turn, but it looks like a
Armored Titan Rush.
Yes, comes in as potentially the finisher for this game.
Yeah, he commits nothing because we got the check bonus from Zeke Yeager. So while this would normally be on an 8 and we checked a 3, we actually checked an 8. This one cannot be blocked by non-attack cards, and the damage can't be reduced below 9. So you have to completely block this attack, and you have to use a non-attack card. And we just got rid of a a non-attack mid block. So looking for that mid block attack.
Yeah, this is tough, and we used hacker. No, we didn't even deal damage because it was a runaway, so I couldn't even use the hacker to redraw a card to try and get myself out of this situation. Man, this is a tough spot to be in if you're a Donatello fan. It looks like Sweeping Dagger's coming in to save the day. Checking the sweeping on it, though. On a 7, committing everything out. And here comes the Falling Titans to clean up game 2.
We did rip the +1 mid attack block, but it didn't matter because all of that extra draw power from sacking the backups, all of that extra tutoring power meant that we had exactly enough attacks to end this game. And we're going to go to game 3, but there's less than 20 minutes left in the round, Tam. Are we even going to be able to finish this game, or do you think we're looking at a 1-1 tie?
It's interesting. I think we can get there depending on how many of these count as assets foundations Donnie finds. We keep finding the assets and the backups themselves, which are good. They are impactful, but they're not letting us play out these early aggressive strings that we would want to find as Donatello. Some of your best hands are truthfully just like opening Double Brotherly Love plus a code edits to do that Godzilla impression and just like sling out as many +3 damage moves as you possibly can. Attack these backups so Zeke doesn't have this big stage to interact with. I think that there is something there's something to be said about loading up on massive damage swings and going to town.
Yeah, I think I'm a little surprised I don't see more of these asset foundation hybrids, I suppose. I'm not sure exactly how many Devin's running. I'm trying to go through the deck list, but I'm not seeing as many as I was expecting. I mean, for me personally, I feel like I have to max out on them, right? I feel like that is a huge benefit to playing this character, is that I get to block with Brotherly Love and then build it into my stage, and then I can use that as a foundation to pass checks. You know, using cards like Code Edits is a +1 mid block, and just clearing your card pool even to build it down is a really, really good handy thing to have. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see if we get a really explosive, really aggro style game, because so far Donatello has not come out of the gates blazing, right? He kind of had to find his spot. He kind of had to duck and weave game 1. Game 2, he was just the turn 2 player, right? He just got to watch Zeke Yeager do his exact game plan turn 2 and turn 3. But now, if Donatello can have a really nice aggressive turn 2, if he can put Zeke down to, you know, half health or something like that, force him to sacrifice backups to stay alive before he can transform, the less backups he has, the less devastating Beast Titan's Rock Barrage is. So if you can even just start attacking the backups, even, you know, going first, it's a lot easier to attack those backups and keep your rival on a low, you know, backup count than it is when you're going second. So I'd love to see him pivot, send some of those Sweeping Daggers at the backups, kill a Yeagerist follower, you know?
Yeah, I love that too, because we saw that it did not take very much input once we were set up to swing at Zeke and kill them. So forcing Zeke to kill these backups early, a lot of people complain that like the issue with fighting Zeke is when I attack the backups, I don't have the damage output later in the game to get the job done. That's not how Donatello works. He scales, he snowballs like crazy, and I remember the first time I've ever played against the Timothy, the brothers, the 40 health forehand size character. I killed him in 3 moves. He was at full. I didn't play a single attack, and I went attack, attack, attack. He perished. And so like this Donatello has the potential to output a ton of damage. And so maybe you're right. Let's swing on some backups, stabilize our board with these assets, get this damage pump, and when it's time, attack Zeke and clean the game.
Yeah, I'd also be really interested to see what uses for momentum do we have. We took momentum game one, but the backup decks famously don't use momentum that often. I don't think Broberg was taking momentum. His attacks typically shift down. See, I am here turn one for the third game in a row. Is
Love
he
it.
ever gonna
Absolutely love
whiff?
it.
Does he never miss? He
Nah,
never misses.
he never
He
misses.
never misses. But so what was I talking about? The
Um, momentum. I
right, the
think the big
momentum use.
momentum out that we have here in our chaos build is that Resurrected Titans has both EX2 and Powerful 2.
Right. And
And
so I would
yeah,
love to see the Donatello deck get stocked up on some momentum from hitting backups and then steal an EX powerful move. But we didn't build any foundations turn one. So we've got a sweet damage bonus. But I don't know
yeah,
if we can pass the checks.
yeah. This just tells me that there's another stabilization turn coming, and it tells me that our hand was not very good because even the most veteran players know that foundations are the way that you win the game. Like if you don't have foundations, you can't play. They are literally, it's in the name. They are foundational for you to interact with it. And so
So
we're,
that's
we're
my
from
Zeke Yeager bonus.
good point. But even so, we've got 4 foundations to Donatello's none. And so we're gonna see how much we are allowed to build out. And it looks like this 3 into the 4. Okay.
So no new
4.
assets.
I think that's okay because we get to build them in with Donatello with
Right.
our block tricks, as long as zones match up and such.
Double inspiring song is pretty scary here on the he should have reviewed. He would have got the I am here. And then had a chance at a 9 Titans. But the double inspiring song here is pretty scary from Zeke Yeager in the early turns because when you get check bonuses, usually the best thing I find to pair with check bonuses is more check bonuses.
Yeah.
Clearing the card pool, you want to pair with card draw because as long as you keep doing it, you can effectively go infinite, right? You can stay off progressive forever as long as you keep drawing the right cards to ignore progressive. But check bonuses, they do have a diminishing returns along with the progressive difficulty. So getting a couple really high impactful bonuses back to back to back can be super duper impressive. And so having inspiring song to maybe save the Zeke Yeager response for later in a turn could have made that turn to incredibly scary. But luckily for Devin, we're just gonna build out. We now have 5 backups though, and a Knots Flask, tons of damage reduction. But we've seen Devin navigate these board states before, typically by stealing Beast Titan's Rock Barrage. It's gonna be interesting to see where we go from here.
Probably my pound for pound favorite card out of the new TMNT set, Shell Shocked. 5/3, 5 high for 5, 2 high block, stun 2, response on block. Your next arousal attack has +2 difficulty. This in conjunction with the Mechazoids is a 5 high for 5 Rock Barrage. Stun 2, Mechazoid stun 1. We're gonna get Beast Titan is now completely stunned out. That's in one attack.
Yeah.
They're all gone. And now we get +3 damage on it. This is a 5 high for 8. Zeke is going to have to be doing some pretty heavy lifting to get out of this turn unscathed.
Yeah, and it looks like we don't even have to really attack the backups to get them off the board because Zeke is gonna sacrifice one and transform immediately, which means he can no longer abort the attack if you do try to swing at the backup. But I think that Devin is just kind of singularly focused on putting together a solid enough string here that it's not going to matter, right? We want to get cards out of Zeke's hand. We want to encourage him to block for his defense. But I do think that leaving that 9 Titans on the board could potentially spell disaster if we pass it back to Kevin here.
A lot of hard decisions to make here. Any 3-check is going to end the turn no matter where it is, and we don't have our get out of jail free card of the spare parts.
But we did find a real solid piece for getting that 9 Titans off the board, didn't we?
Yeah, love this one. Haven't seen this mode of this card very much today. Been much more successful at if connecting remove a random card out of their hand, but I think getting rid of the 3 damage in response to get rid of the backup, I think is a big deal. Unless, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to use the 9 Titans before you lose it. But luckily, what's really, really good about this one, and I was going to mention it might not matter actually if you even attack the 9 Titans, because besides Rock Barrage, recurs.
If we attacked a different backup and then proceeded to do it, but it looks like we hit Zeke, chose not to respond to remove a card. I think it might be at the very top of the broadcast. You were talking about how Devin is a little rusty, has not been playing so recently. It might have just been a lack of experience, lack of that play pattern recognition of if my Animus hits, I'm supposed to remove a card.
Yeah, I mean it was for 1 damage flashed. Just not the mode he was interested in, right? He put it in the deck to kill, remove backups, and it removed the backup, and that was good enough for him. It drew him a card. But now we've got quite a few cards in hand. We did not build very much, if at all. Did we even build after that?
I think I built 2.
Yeah.
We've got now 6 cards on the board and 2 very good ones to talk about. Double incubating, but with all the backups that we have here, this stage is being decimated.
Yeah, this is not looking good. Luckily, there's no 9 Titans for extra doubling shenanigans. We only have the one that we just built. But this is not the attack you probably want to do the double on. This one could be very well, though, the one you want to do the double on, because Falling Titans is an attack where you can sacrifice a backup, add it back to your hand, and then replay it. We're playing it on 7s, but Zeke Yeager's +2 to the check means that this is basically like playing it on a 5 over and over and over again. And now we've even got +2 from Sean.
Yeah, this is a very scary spot to be if you are your 7 hand size characters. It only takes a couple of these to get done, but I'm peeking a little bit of technology probably coming out of the sideboard to deal with it, and that is Dimensional Sphere. Response after you block this move, remove it from the game. Not only is it staving off the damage, but also removes it so you no longer get the pickup as well. Tough stuff.
This is super funny because I don't think Cabal's Ruin actually gets the counter. But I don't know. I'm not a black belt judge. I'm a white belt judge. But I don't know if because it leaves and it technically aborts. So it is an attack this is like the block step thing that I hate so much about backups. It's an attack that existed and didn't deal damage, but I don't think it ever actually got to the point of the game where Cabal's Ruin checks that. But that's not what's important. What's important is we saved ourselves from dying to the sky is falling with a ton of backups being replayed at us. Now we just have to deal with a 7 high 7. That's easy, right?
Yeah.
Looks like we see the answer in hand actually from Devin right here. Now the real question is this when you want to use a barrier shield? Because that breaker could be a make it or break it sort of effect, it beats the doubling the speed of the 9 Titans throughout the ages, and the +3 from the check from knockdown blow would help to counteract the breaker 2 from barrier shield. But if you wait too long, Broberg will start using the inspiring songs to buff his check to counter it anyways. So this is kind of an interesting spot to be in. I think taking the 7 is the correct call here.
Oh, especially when we have more Falling Titans coming out of the sideboard. I thought I saw him side them in, which is just, we've represented that check once again. How many of these are we allowed to play? And with the plus to our check from Zeke, this could spell disaster as it goes up to lethal.
You know what's extra sad? If it wasn't for the wording on Falling Titans, this could have been an excellent time for the second enhance on Barrier Shield to be what saves us. This could have been a moment where saying you can't add cards to your hand would work, but unfortunately, Falling Titans is after the attack resolves, right?
It is after it resolves, correct.
Yeah, so I think we've got the Barrier Shield in the card pool. I think we're actually a little bamboozled here because Barrier Shield says you cannot add cards to their hand during this attack.
We put it down to the 0 speed. We forget it was a remove cost.
Okay, he just didn't remove it. All right, that's not on me, chat. That's on Devin for leaving it in the card pool. I thought I saw him toggle it down. I just want to make sure that everyone knows, because I've had people, backseat gamers, try to tell me, "Oh, you could have used Barrier Shield," but it doesn't work. It doesn't work against Falling Titans.
Nah, it's after it resolves, not during the attack.
Oh, it looks like we're getting a clarification on the Cabal's Ruin.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
I'm not 100% sure on that, by the way. I just want to be clear.
I'm positive it's how it works. You never get to the damage step, and so Cabal's never sees it. It didn't deal damage, because that's when it cares about it.
I imagine Devin is thumbs upping because he's pretty sure he's dead, but it's kind of funny. We're correcting the Cabal's Ruin counter while staring like sheer death in the face here, because Kevin can almost certainly pass another Falling Titan if he even needed to, but he did not.
And there it is. The handshake comes across, Donatello falling to the Warchief. Incredible play over on Kevin's side, and truthfully, incredible play over on Devin's side. He made a pretty slick comeback in that game 3. If you remember, Sam, his first build was backup asset. Not what you want to do as your 7 hand size character staring down one of the boogeymen of the format.
I really gotta think, if we could have seen that solid 5 build that every aggro character wants to see, we could have been hitting +4s, +5s on turn 2. That could have been a very, very different game. But when you play the aggressive 7-handers and you don't have that early game start, it's really antithetical to the whole game plan.
Totally. Absolutely. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, round 4, not round 5, is in the books. What an exciting one to have witnessed. I had a blast, Sam. This was a really, really fun round. I'm glad I got to see my favorite turtle in action and take a game.
Yeah, I think Donnie is really cool. I think Donnie is the most accessible character for competitive from TMNT. I think if you're a new player and you don't want to be just another Godzilla in the field, I think Donatello is an absolutely perfect deck to pick up. It's simple to understand. You get to play with all the different card types. They benefit the deck, as we saw with Mechazoids, as we saw with the foundations that count as assets. So very, very cool stuff. But we've got a couple more rounds of action. We're going to take a small break. We're going to come back with round 5. You're not going to want to miss it, but let us know in the chat who you want to see, and we may just be able to grant that wish.
Absolutely. We will be right back.